Alright guys, so we've done our warm-ups and we do this one, right? So for right now I'm just going to be using this leg because this is the leg I always use for the sweep, right? And notice that when I bring down, I'm kicking myself in the butt. I want to close up this angle as much as I possibly can. Now, if you want to practice this, you're going to be here on your side, right? Right? Doing that little circle there. So if somebody is in my guard and they start to, right, we've talked about this, like sometimes when people start to stand, right, I guess we haven't touched that as much. It's not going to be so much this type of thing because they're going to be so high postured up. But when somebody tries to just stand a little bit, the first thing that they're going to do is they might pressure down on the hips. They might have whatever grips that they're going to have, but they're going to boom. And notice that I moved off of this leg, right? One of the things that happens most often, especially with beginners, is that they'll do this, right? And they'll be in this position. You see my hips may even be slightly past this post. And what that does, you know, from being with all my weight on this one leg, there's not really much that stops me from going over that way. So when I start to stand inside somebody's guard, I move off to the side, right? Because now I've got a post on this side. So when I'm trying to break somebody down, I need to start moving their body over this way. And what we're going to be doing with this one a little bit is we're going to lift a little bit with that hook. And I really cannot emphasize that enough, that we're turning his body more than we're lifting, if that makes sense. So he steps out with that leg, right? That far south leg. So I've got that closed guard. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pop my hip out a little bit, and I'm going to do that little circle, and I'm going to put my foot in to underneath that knee, right? Now, if I don't have any grips here, which I really will need that, right? Usually I'm going to be hooking the back of the head. Usually I'm going to be hooking that elbow. I'm holding onto that elbow. Now from here, I'm going to start to steer him more with my arms, and I'm trying to create that dead angle. So I'm trying to move him that way. And really, I want to stop here with this leg, right? What people tend to do a lot of times is they kick off and they end up in the half guard. Because remember, my leg is between their legs because I'm hooking at their knee. So the end of the lever is going to be the knee because his knee's bent, right? So I get these grips. He's trying to break posture up or whatever. And he starts to stand. I'm going to pop my hip out. I do that little circle and I hook underneath his knee there. From here, I can come up on my elbow. That's fine. I can still do it from down here. It doesn't matter that much. For here, I have more of an opportunity to glue and look, right? And just like with the other sweeps, I'm not really, I'm not taking him to the side, right? And part of that is because he's in this position, right? He's got a post out there, but I can bring him this way. Right? So, you know, even if his hips are back, he's top heavy now. He's really high. And so it's going to be easier to bring him down. So what I need to do is I need to get rid of this post, right? Because this leg is up, we don't have to worry so much about really blocking this one so that he can't step over, right? Because try this, right? And remember that my leg is up on this hip still. So if I'm trying to, it's not going to happen. This is glued to the ground. So like I had said quite a while back, like when we are getting those grips when we're in standing and we want to make sure that he can't move a leg, we make that leg heavy. We put his weight on that leg so that we can trip it, right? And so when I'm doing this sweep, right, because he's got this, he's already committed this knee to the ground. He cannot move it. Now, what people will do to defend this is they'll just bring their leg back down, and sometimes your hook's going to end up between their legs, which we will get to at another point. But I'm not sure if I even see the point of view using the dummy on this one, to be honest with you. So we have our person in our open guard. He starts to like try to posture up. Maybe I've got this grip already. maybe I don't. Maybe I just have the arm, right? He wants to start breaking open my guard, so I'm gonna open my guard, get on my side, I'm gonna put that hook in, and I'm trapping this elbow as much as possible. I could use 2-on-1 and just trap the elbow and potentially still get the sweep, right? But I've got that hook. I want to hook the back of his head if I can, and I want to start steering him over, and then I'm going to bring him over, and I'm going to let him fall off that hook. I don't go past this high vertical position. When my leg goes as high as it possibly can, I just drop him off. Now, for me, and you could end up with this underhook too. Like if you can't get the head, you can totally use this underhook. It's going to serve the same purpose, right? So once I sweep him off, I let him drop off. So if I'm on the head, I'm going to remove my arm and I'll put it under his armpit. If it's already under the armpit, great. And then I'm going to come up to side control. For me, I feel like, for whatever reason, that side control for this particular sweep is not the easiest position for me to get into, and a lot of times I just continue with the motion that I'm already going in. And so I've got this going on, and I fall down into that switch base that we talked about, right? I often do go to scarf hold as well, right? It just depends on what I want to do from there. So I tend to prefer this because, one, I've already got this arm separated. If I go to side control, maybe he's going to be able to get that arm back in. Maybe it's going to be more of a challenge to start attacking that arm and really using this. So I like to go to the switch base because I've already got this arm separated and I have to do less work. When we talked about this, right? I start to step over, boom, there's an arm bar there. I like, boom, boom, straighten out, he bends, come here and walk back. So having that arm separated, here I am, boom, back of the head, pass, come down into that head and arm choke. So it's one of the reasons why I like this sweep. Now, again, I'm not coming to the mount. It's not wrong to come to the mount with this sweep, okay? The thing is, it's going to be really kind of a question on whether or not you can actually get this leg free. Now, if I try, right, I break his posture down, I've got this post taken away, he steps his leg out because he wants to use that to maybe leverage himself up so he can get away from this position. Maybe I didn't catch that, I get that underhook, whatever. I get on my side, I spin in, and remember, I'm kicking my butt on this spin, right? Because if I just move around, right, I might not actually get in. So I really want to make sure that I'm getting that butt contact with my heel, and I put that hook in as close to his knee as possible. This is going to kind of prevent him from falling back down or putting that knee back down a little bit. If I'm closer to his hip, it's going to be much harder for me to get that, to keep that leg up. So I've got my boot on, I'm nice and strong here. I start to look and I stop here. If I try to go into the mount, right, if I'm lucky, I can get my knee down to the ground on the outside of his hips, but he's going to start to lock up on a half guard. So what half guard is somebody's leg is trapped here, right? So I might have my ankles here and I might be pinching, especially if I'm in a quarter guard where it's just the lower half of his leg. If it's above the knee, then that's gonna be your full half guard. I might start playing this Z guard where I create a knee shield and put that into his hip. So there's all kinds of things that, you know, if I'm on the bottom, I actually kind of want that position, right? So if he's taking me over and I was able to get to that half guard position, maybe I swim for the underhook and start to back out, and now I can step to the back, right? So there are advantages for the person on the bottom to really aim for that half guard, especially if you're leaving your leg involved too long on that hook sweep. I know I probably have talked this a little bit too far over, but it's really important to know that you do not want to have your leg trapped there. Now, I'm going to take a moment here and talk about what happens if you do, right? So again, if his is trapping my ankle on this side, right? So he didn't get the full half guard yet, right? For him, he just needs to kind of move his hips out and then push on my leg and put that into the full half guard. So I want to be really heavy with that leg. Maybe I'm blocking this arm, and I want to maintain this underhook on here, because again, if he gets here, he can start to duck his head out and he can start working to my back. So I really want to make sure that I'm maintaining this. So he might be coming into the prayer position, whatever defensive position, but if he's got a really, really strong grip onto that leg, there are a few things I can do, okay? One of them is going to be, I'm going to start with the fun one because it's reinforcing what I said from the very beginning, that you should be using your shoulder rolls now. And this was in the sparring video, and Jet defended it. So what I'm going to do is, if I can shove him onto this side, and I block with my elbow here. I'm going to pinch his legs, right? So my ankle is trapped between his legs. Now, if I just go ahead and I go into this shoulder roll, and I don't have this leg, and it's just his grip, especially if he's new, he's not going to necessarily be as super aggressive with that grip, and he might let go, and then I lose him, right? And if he knows that if he just lets go, I can't do this, then he's not going to hold on, right? So instead of, like, the way that I was taught, and I think this is more of a way that you kind of teach white belts, is you basically, block him, keep him on his side, drop your arm between your legs, roll, and then you'll just take his back, right? It's going to move him so that he's just sitting in your lap, and you're going to be able to take his back and start working for chokes. But if I do that, there's no reason that he has to keep holding onto that leg, and I might lose this roll. So instead, you can practice this. Boom, practice, drive, and get that shoulder roll, right? And just keep drilling this. This is a perfect opportunity for you guys to be just drilling this solo drill, where I dive between my legs, get onto my shoulders, no weight on my neck, no weight on my head, and then come into this bottom position. In this case, he's going to be on top of me, and I've got his back. A lot of times I'm going to end up on one side or the other, and that's perfectly fine. We'll establish our back mount from there, and that's, Christmas, right? So once you have that down, instead of putting this leg up, pinch it in. So I am now holding on to his legs so that if he tries to let go of my leg, it's not going to happen. And this is one of the things I was not told per se by a coach. We did a seminar with Higan Machado in Seattle and at our school, and he taught this roll, which I've known for years before that. And the first thing I noticed is he's pinching, right? That the defense for this roll goes out the window. So I pinch together, and then I put my arm next to my body, roll, and then he's going to fall into my lap, and I have taken his back, right? So it's not the end of the world. The other thing that can happen, like if you're not able to get him up on his side, but I'm still stuck in that half guard, I'm going to move to a side control if I can, right? So I'm going to get pretty low on him right here. I might be kind of posting here because this is the way that my body's going to be going. Maybe I'm going to be hooking his head or whatever. And I'm just going to raise up just enough that I can get my knee across. And I'm going to sit through, being really, really tight to him here, and I'm just starting to inch forward. Now my body's blocking him from being able to follow me, and it's going to be really easy to start pulling that leg out, all right? If he turns this way, I'm not going to be able to do that, right? And a lot of times, people are going to say, maybe he's here. Maybe I should thread through and I get that Darce choke, right? So I've ended up in this half guard, and I went for this Darce choke here. The other thing that I can do, right? This leg's trapped, so I just put my foot here and slide it out, right? Just using that foot. He's on his side, I've got that block there, right? But a lot of times, you could just let him have it, right? So I've got my leg here, I start going for the side control. He's blocking his own path to regarding or pulling guard on me. And so from here, I could still potentially get this Kimura, depending on how well he is protecting himself. I could, get this up, and I could potentially get a cutting armbar here. I might be able to get this up and then go for a head and arm choke, but generally the go-to when I'm stuck in somebody's half guard like that, is to go for the Darce choke, because you actually totally can finish it from that position. And sometimes when you're doing that and they're realizing it's not working, they might, let go and try to create some distance. So that might be a reason why they opened up their guard. Another thing that you could possibly do, and I'm just making this up right now, right? But I've got my foot stuck in that quarter guard. I could post on his body, and I can shove it all the way through, right? And so from here, you've got knee bars, and you've got breaking sticks, and you've got heel hooks, and all that shit. Because now he's in this position, the easiest thing for you to do is to gather both of his legs, lace your arm through, and go for the breaking sticks, which I will show you when we have partners. So, a lot of stuff that you can do from there, guys. The half guard is really, really not the end of the world. A lot of people, when they start using the sweep, will end up getting stuck in the half guard. But, you know, if you don't want to get stuck in the half guard, because, you know, a lot of times when people are trying to get their leg free, they compromise their base and they get swept and they end up on the bottom. So, you know, don't be so worried about getting out of that half guard that you lose your position. Just understand that he can take your back from there. Understand that you know, he's still on the defensive. You know, he can do a deep half guard sweep where he basically opens up your gate, dives through your legs, and then comes around the side, straightening out your leg, and then forces you down or whatever, and starting to work on top of you. So there are things that he can do with that, and so it is a very valuable position, but it's going to be a lot more work for him than it is going to be for you, and I think that's the big ranty point that I'm getting here. So hook sweep ends up in the half guard, and just know that you have options there, and remember to do your damn shoulder rolls. Okay, you guys, that's it for today. You guys have a lovely day, and if you were wondering how many singlets does this fucking guy own, I will tell you that we are getting close to the end. I have not repeated a singlet yet. But I also have a bunch of fabric downstairs, so I might just start making them. So, anyways, that's it for today. Thank you guys. You have a good day.